was Aphrodite? Greek goddess of love, Aphrodite was beauty incarnate, a golden-haired goddess born from the sea. Floating to shore on a clamshell, Aphrodite made the sand sprout flowers when she set her foot upon the land. The Olympian gods bestowed her with lavish gifts in their attempts to woo her. But she surprised them, choosing the malformed Hephaestus, god of the forge, for her husband. You may be more familiar with the Roman names for them, Venus and Vulcan. Hephaestus's long hours at the forge made him a pretty convenient mate for the wandering and irresistible goddess of love and desire. While Aphrodite brought beauty and pleasure to the world, she became a vain and treacherous figure in Homer's heroic epic, the Iliad, which tells of the Trojan War. Paris, Troy's young prince, succumbed to Aphrodite's promise of the most beautiful woman in the world if he would choose her as the loveliest goddess. It was Paris's misfortune and a classical calamity that he found the golden apple inscribed, "For the fairest." For Aphrodite knew the ways to a man's heart, and of course, Paris awarded the apple to her. How does Amy Lowell use the figure Aphrodite in Venus Transiens? Amy Lowell's poem, Venus Transiens, taps the positive meanings of Aphrodite's divinity and beauty, creating a passionate love poem in free verse. There is no pattern of rhythm, rhyme, or even line length that orders Lowell's poem. Instead, she draws on the most famous painting of Aphrodite, Italian Sandro Botticelli's The Birth of Venus from 1485. By rendering a work of visual art with her words, Lowell borrows a classical device called ekphrasis. Homer used it in his lengthy description of Achilles' shield in the Iliad. To fashion a poem that can express a woman's desire for another, a taboo for much of the 20th century, Lowell brings the classical past into her modern subject. Addressing her lover directly, the speaker of Venus Transiens asks a rhetorical question that places the beloved even higher than Botticelli's serenely graceful goddess. Lowell's title proves strategic because the Latin word transiens means more than its English descendant transient. Transiens means surpassing as well as crossing over. The beloved in Venus Transiens exceeds others' beauty as she crosses from the blue and buoyant air into the speaker's heart. Tell me, was Venus more beautiful than you are when she topped the crinkled waves drifting shoreward on the plaited shell? The competition between poet and painter is on as Lowell borrows key details from Birth of Venus. Botticelli's goddess floats on a pleated clamshell as white as her skin. She is poised between sea and land. The painter's brushstrokes give a fabric-like texture to the sea. As the poem continues, Lowell adds the strewn flowers the zephyrs blow with their breath. Appearing on the left side of Botticelli's painting, they represent the west wind propelling Aphrodite to shore. Lowell's speaker asks rhetorically if Botticelli's painted rosebuds rival her poem's tribute in words. Was Botticelli's vision fairer than mine? And were the painted rosebuds he tossed his lady of better worth than the words I blow about you to cover your too great loveliness as with the gauze of misted silver? In addition to the flowers on the left side of Botticelli's painting, Lowell's poem alludes to the attendant on the right side who waits to cloak the goddess when she lands. Note that Botticelli's Venus is a modest Aphrodite who covers herself with her hand and her hair. Pure beauty, she bears none of Aphrodite's negative meanings. Lowell's image of misty silver gauze is more delicate than Botticelli's painted cloak. Its translucence would allow some of the beloved's too great loveliness to shine through. At this point in the poem, Lowell moves away from Botticelli's image. Note how she frames the second part of Venus Transiens with the words me and my. For me, you stand poised in the blue and buoyant air, cinctured by bright winds, treading the sunlight, and the waves which precede you ripple and stir the sands at my feet. This is the turn of Venus Transiens, the point where the poem shifts its direction and energies from art history to romantic intimacy. The speaker's beloved breaks free of Botticelli's canvas, suspended in air, girdled with wind and sunlight. Note Lowell's choice of the word cinctured, which derives from Latin. The poem's you is elemental beauty incarnate, a classical goddess reinvented for modern love. In Botticelli's painting, the rippling sea is behind Aphrodite as she reaches the shore. In Lowell's poem, the waves that precede the beloved you are waves of passion that ripple and stir the speaker's heart. The poem turns personal in the end, transforming the speaker's world. What does Amy Lowell gain by using the classical Aphrodite to write of modern love? Several things. First, what could be more elevating than comparing a beloved to the goddess of love and beauty? Venus Transiens does more than bring a goddess down to earth. It pictures a woman that surpasses divine loveliness. Second, Lowell's classicism elevates her own work by putting it in conversation with other Greek-inspired modernists that she read, including Pound and H.D. Third, putting classical allusions in her published poems was a way to rebel against her childhood, in which only the boys could study Greek and Latin. Although Amy Lowell was the daughter of a wealthy, elite Boston family, she did not have access to higher education like her brothers did. She was raised to be a socialite and learn proper ladyhood, as befitting a Boston debutante. So she made use of libraries to continue her education and learn literary tradition. Fourth, bringing Aphrodite into her poem opens its possibilities to all forms of human desire, including same-sex desire. While a speaker's gender does not automatically align with the poet's, this poem's artistic challenge to Botticelli invites us to see the smitten speaker as perhaps Lowell herself. And there are other reasons to read lesbian possibility into Venus Transiens. Lowell's companion in her adult life, actress Ada Dwyer Russell, was the inspiration for several poems praising female beauty. Rather than risk censure and write directly of Russell, or any modern woman, Lowell describes the divine nakedness of Aphrodite with a painterly eye. Thus, the words that cover a too great loveliness also mask a forbidden desire. Figured as Venus Transiens, the speaker's beloved can stand poised out in the open. You might say that Lowell's poem is democratic because it does not directly assign its speaker a gender. Anyone who appreciates beauty and has been in love can enter into its tribute to Aphrodite.